Welcome to Alpha as My, where we break down but hopefully don't break early access games, and today we're looking at BattleTech. BattleTech is part of a series dating back to 1984, when it started as a tabletop war game. Since then it's had a number of spin-off games, namely Mech Warrior and Mech Commander, the former of which had a number of video games through the 90s and early 2000s, and even a single-season animated series. There was also the more recent Mech Warrior Online, but let's not talk about that. This game is being put together by Harebrained Schemes, the same group behind the more recent Shadowrun games, with its staff including Shadowrun creative director Mike McCain, Jordan Weissman, who was a designer for the original Shadowrun RPG and created BattleTech, and Mitch Gittleman, who produced the Mech Commander games. After a bit of self-funded work, Harebrained Schemes went to Kickstarter and hit their $250,000 funding goal within an hour, hitting several stretch goals as they collected over 10 times what they originally asked for. Trying to explain the BattleTech universe would take way too long for this video, but here's the extremely abbreviated version of it. This takes place in the year 3025 during a period called the Succession Wars. Basically, a political entity called the Star League was in charge, but the leader died and 5 great noble houses called dibs to be the next leader. They've been at war ever since, fighting over control of an area called the Inner Sphere, which is basically near/around Earth. The fight has lasted so long, technological regression is taking place, making battle mechs valuable for the continuing fight, and some factions are reaching the breaking point, which is where you come in as the commander of a mech fleet. The full game is slated to include a single-player campaign, online multiplayer, and a skirmish mode, but the beta only includes the single-player skirmish, in which mechs face each other 4-on-4 until one team is completely destroyed. Compared to the full game, it's not much, but a lot can be gleaned from what's here. I'm going to try and summarize a bit because there's a lot to go over. BattleTech's combat system is certainly not lacking in depth, to the point that starting the beta immediately brings up a prompt to read the manual. An 18-page manual, of which 11 are dedicated to combat and game mechanics. Each skirmish lets you choose between 5 maps, 5 environment effects, and 3 lance budgets. The budget determines how expensive a team of mechs you can enlist, of which there are 32, each with their own weapon loadouts and statistics for things like speed, stability, range, melee strength, initiative, and the like, and choose their pilots, each of which have their own stats for gunnery, piloting, tactics, guts,
just like numbers, stats,
and their own in-game abilities, either passive or activated, to help them through each battle. Mechs can be changed around into different teams, so long as they meet the budget for the type of fight selected. Speaking of, battles start in a sort of free movement phase, giving you a chance to explore the terrain and such before encountering enemy units. This isn't just to build familiarity with the map and position your units effectively, but also helps you realize that the environment affects your strategy. For example, forested areas slow you down and make it harder for pilots to see, but give a significant boost against most ranged attacks, and mineral fields boost energy weapon damage both given and taken by 25%. Standing in water reduces heat. Heat builds up mainly from firing weapons and certain other actions, like using jump jets to attack, and can force a mech to shut down from overheating. This can be alleviated by staying guarded, which also cuts down damage taken, or not firing every single weapon for every attack. After all, some work better at certain distances or through certain lines of sight. Some environment pieces also aid mech stability, as some attacks can make mechs unstable to the point of knocking them over and leaving them vulnerable to called shots. Each mech is divided into 11 sections, each of which has a bar for armor and structural integrity. Getting through the armor does direct damage to the mech and any related components, which can disable certain weapons or abilities. Destroying the head, torso, or both legs of a mech eliminates them from battle, because you can't fight if you can't move, and you can't move if your pilot is a bloody visceral smear on what's left of their mech. The sections on the back of each mech are typically the weakest, and the AI frequently made an effort to flank my units to get to them. After every battle there's an after-action report, as well as a survey the developers are using for player feedback. Between that and the user form, they're likely getting plenty of input. As for stability, of the game, not my mechs, I didn't run into any significant bugs, though I still wonder how I missed from point-blank range with a chance to hit of 100%. My main issue, in case it's not obvious yet, was performance. My computer meets the minimum requirements, better in some aspects more than others. I played a match on high, medium, and low graphics settings, and this is not going to surprise you at all, but everything but low gave me constant issues with stuttering and lockup. However, on the low settings, the vision cone frequently disappeared when I tried to move mechs. Knowing how dedicated some of the players have been in bug hunting this beta, I wouldn't be surprised if the developers are already working on this right now. Until then, I'll just have to try giving the bug a called shot to the head.
Target locked.
This is the Inner Sphere. Thousands of planets colonized by humankind. Once it was united under the Star League. But for the last 300 years, it has been consumed by savage wars. Until a new enemy appeared. Mysterious invaders known as the Clans. Powerful and ruthless, they struck like lightning, attacking every sector at once. But they made one big mistake. They attacked my home planet.